So first, I just want to say hello, everyone. I'm Samantha Hart. I'm going to be your host for the next about an hour, and I am so excited to welcome you to our May webinar. Going to be talking about functional health for mental and brain wellness and support. Really, just talking about how to address your mental health and brain health from the inside out. So just a little bit of housekeeping to get us started. I wanted to point out everyone's camera is automatically off and everyone's automatically muted. So just FYI, I can't hear you and see you. Um, but if you have any questions or need anything throughout this, feel free to use the chat box or the Q&A section. Um, we'll try to answer some questions at the end. So if you think of something throughout, you don't have to try to remember it till the end. Just drop it in that Q&A box, and we'll address it at the end. If we run out of time answering questions, then I will make sure to send them out in a follow-up email. We will be sending out a follow-up email that will have, like I said, any unanswered questions, but also information on how to watch the recording of this. So just feel free to, go back and watch that at your convenience if you want to get more information or need further explanation and miss something, or if you need to hop off at any point, just feel free to watch the recording at your convenience. Don't feel like you're obligated to stay for the whole thing if you aren't able to. And with that, we'll kind of jump right into it. So like I said, I'm Samantha Hart. I am one of the nurse practitioners at IV Nutrition, and I'm over our functional health program. You may have already met me at one of our previous webinars, or if you're an IV Nutrition team member, we do have some of our clinic staff on these calls to listen in and learn as well. Or you may be one of my clients that we've met through having an appointment and getting lab work done. Sure. Audio sounded like it changed. Okay, I think we can still hear. All right. So yeah, if you haven't met me, this is your first time sitting in on a webinar. Um, like I said, I'm one of the nurse practitioners, and if you've never heard of IV Nutrition, we'll tell you a little bit about them. So they are a fantastic company focusing on IV infusions and injections, trying to make that really, easily available to the public. Um, idea was first for people that needed maybe hydration or immune boost, but with IV nutrition, we really focus on adding that functional health element. So we're focusing on anti-aging and preventative health, helping clients with long-term goals, or if you have like a chronic disease that needs ongoing support, really try to help those clients. So trying to make this much more than just like a hangover cure, but also to really, really help with long-term effects and helping you reach your wellness goals. So just implemented these webinars as a way to kind of help teach everyone about their body and how it works. I feel very strongly that you should get to make educated decisions about your health and what you're putting in your body and how you're dealing with your ongoing health. So I think it's important for people to understand, about their body and how it works. I also want to do these webinars to really just help educate you about IV nutrition and some of the services that we offer. If you've ever been to an IV nutrition, we have a million pamphlets and all these different nutrients and combinations. You can do it, and how often do you do it, and what's it for? And they can be really overwhelming. So hoping these webinars are really helpful for our clients so they can get a little bit better idea of certain nutrients that may be helpful for them, but also for like I said, we have some of our client or clinic staff on here, and I think this is a really kind of ongoing education for them to help learn more about some of the services that we offer and different ways that we can really utilize it for our clients. The other key thing I like to point out during these webinars is that we offer lab work at IV Nutrition. That's kind of the big difference that sets us aside from other infusion clinics. Like I said, we have a set menu of items that you can get. We obviously will support hydration and immune boost, but We also offer lab work that we look at from a functional health standpoint, where we talk about optimal, not just normal, and can use that information to really come up with a customized protocol for you so you know what IVs or injections you should be getting, what oral supplements you should be taking, how often to take them. So just really trying to come up with a more customized approach there so you're not just kind of guessing at what you're supposed to be getting and when to get it. Um, and so with that, really just making sure you're getting the most benefit from the services that you're getting. A little bit of information about me. I have worked in conventional healthcare over the last 10 years in like the emergency room setting, ICU and cardiology. So a lot more like acute care, learned a lot from that. But with that, noticed a lot of gaps in care, where people like with chronic diseases or kind of non-specific symptoms or like autoimmune type diseases, or people that just wanted to focus on preventative care didn't have a whole lot of options or support. So that's really what drew me to functional care. Functional health is focus much more on preventative options or what you can do to, keep yourself healthy and stay on top of everything and have a better understanding of how your body works. I think the biggest thing is it's just amazing that our bodies are designed to keep everything in balance and regulated, but just what we do throughout life, stress, what we eat, how we sleep, um, different illnesses, all of that can impact our body's ability to keep itself regulated. So sometimes need a little additional help, and some guidance on what to do to get everything back to normal and get that foundation strong again so it is functioning the way it's supposed to. Really, through this webinar, I hope to help you understand why you might be suffering from issues like brain fog, fatigue, depression, anxiety. We're going to talk about ADHD, and ADD a little bit, and just some simple steps that you can work on implementing to really help support your mental wellness and your brain health. I do want to touch a little bit on, what is functional health. We did discuss this pretty in depth in our January webinar, so the recording's available. If you go to watch the recording of this, you'll see our YouTube page and can watch the recording for the January webinar. But what functional health is, you may hear functional health or functional medicine. Those kind of get used interchangeably. Um, Really, the focus is going back to the basics. Functional medicine really works to make our approaches more patient or client centered, person centered, rather than making it disease centered. So, what works for you? What do you need? Rather than, oh, you have diabetes, like this is what you need because you have diabetes. Because everybody's optimal is different. Even if you're the same age, gender, everybody's optimal can be, changed up by what medications we're on or previous diagnoses we've had. So really, like I said, focusing on the holistic approach. So looking at more root causes and trying to make everything more personalized. Look at how everything in the body is really connected, focusing on supporting what your body is naturally supposed to be doing, addressing causes and focusing on prevention of symptoms rather than just kind of band-aiding it together and limping you along. And we do all this really trying to use vitamins, minerals, nutrients, and other key things that your body easily recognizes, rather than chemicals and other, possible toxins that are harder on your body to process. So the overall goal is just to really support each person in an individualized way, using kind of a more natural approach. We did talk about endocrinology support a little bit in our last webinar, so that recording's available for you. So that may be beneficial for you to look into, talking about adrenal support, blood sugar regulation, hormones. So if you missed that, please make sure you go find the recording on our YouTube page and take a look at that. This is an image that I've just kind of started putting in all of my webinars, a really good visual aid, just a reminder of how our body is all interconnected. You can see like issues with your gut, buildup of toxins, ongoing blood sugar issues, inflammation, poor immune system, like all of that can add up and start affecting your thyroid and hormones, which leads to issues with your brain and your heart. So really just focusing on kind of each level of this little pyramid you see here. Because if we have issues with our digestion, then we're going to start having issues with our detoxification. which can lead to blood sugar issues. And all that kind of just stacks up, and is going to work together and impact each other. So overall goal today, so I've added some information in there just about, brain and mental health and what that means, how to protect your brain, easy steps that you can start implementing to improve, support your brain and mental, well-being, foods that are going to be helpful, different nutrients that are helpful, and how IV nutrition specifically can be beneficial. I've also added some specific information about neurodegenerative disease like Parkinson's, Alzheimer's, and as well as ALS, and a couple of mental disorders like OCD, depression, and ADHD, ADD. Also, some information about migraines and headaches. So, trying to cover a pretty wide variety of topics, but they are kind of all interconnected. So we'll start with what brain health means, and what that kind of entails. So you can think of your brain as like the boss of your body. It helps you think clearly, helps you remember things, helps you focus, sleep. Helps a lot with how you feel. So brain health really refers to helping your brain do all of those things the way it's supposed to. But sometimes we can start, feeling off. We feel foggy or tired or forgetful or just don't feel as sharp as we usually do. All of those are kind of signs that your brain is asking for help. The good news is there are a lot of things that you can do to help support it. So that's kind of what we're going to cover today. I also want to touch on, what mental health is. When I say mental health, a lot of people just think of, being diagnosed with anxiety or depression, but there really is a lot more to it than that. Mental health is how you feel inside. It's your mood, it's your stress levels, it's how you sleep. It's kind of how you handle everyday life. So, we all have mental health. Even if you don't think you have like a mental health issue, we all have mental health, just like you all have physical health. And it's totally normal to have ups and downs. The key is knowing how to support your brain and body when you're not feeling quite normal. What are some of the things that are hurtful to our brain and our mood? So poor sleep. If you're not getting enough good sleep, your brain can't clean out waste and reset properly. Stress, another really big key thing there. Long-term stress actually can shrink your brain and affect your memory. Bad diet. So diets high in processed foods and sugar can lead to inflammation, which can make it harder on your brain to kind of function and slow down its processes. If you're eating diets that are really low in nutrient dense foods, it makes it really difficult to supply your brain with some of those key nutrients it needs so it can function its best. Lack of movement is also a key factor there. When you don't move your body, your brain isn't going to be getting as much of the oxygen and key nutrients as it needs to function as well as it should be. All of these things can really, add up over time. So even if you're like, oh, I move really well, I eat really well, I have no stress, but I don't sleep well, like all of that, still that one impact can add up over time. So if you are looking at this and you're like, oh, I don't sleep well, I stress all the time, I don't eat good, and I don't exercise, like that's obviously going to add up a little bit quicker and make a really big impact. So just focusing on one of these things at a time, just a very simple change can start making a really big impact right now. So you start having improvement, even if it's just preventative or, if you're already starting to feel kind of off, making some of those changes now can help in the long term for you. So what do we do to, help improve and protect and prevent issues for our brain? So one big thing, people worry about losing their memory. So as we get older, it's normal to notice that we like maybe forget a name here and there. But if you start noticing that you're forgetting things more often or losing your train of thought more often or feel like your brain's kind of slowing down, those are changes that you want to start paying attention to, be aware of. Diseases like Parkinson's and Alzheimer's, they don't happen overnight. They usually are building up over time. And so the earlier that we kind of start implementing some support and protection, the better off we're going to be at preventing those long term. And like I keep saying, like there's a lot that you can do now no matter what age you are, to help protect and prevent issues with your brain health. So one of the first topics we're going to hit on is neurodegenerative diseases. Like I said, Parkinson's, Alzheimer's, ALS, those are all examples of some neurodegenerative diseases. Um, so a lot of people think like developing Alzheimer's is just a normal part of aging or getting older. But actually it's a serious health issue. It's third leading cause of death in the US. And even though we're starting to learn more and more about it, we don't have a cure for it. One reason that could be is we are more, there isn't necessarily just one cause. There's so many things that go into affecting brain health. So finding a specific cure for it can be really difficult. So maybe taking a more preventative approach be a little bit more beneficial. So overall, keeping your brain healthy, it's important to look at that whole picture. So like I said, the diet, lifestyle, stress, gut health, um, all of that plays a role um, in how we keep our brain supported, helping us function better and helping us live longer in the end as well. So when I say neurodegenerative, that just kind of a brief what that means. It's neurons, so your brain cells getting damaged or dying. You need neurons to help you think, feel, move, breathe. They're all a really key part in our memory and our speech and our ability to move around and walk normally. So more we're getting exposed to, like I said, poor diet, stress. If we're not eating right, that's going to affect our gut health. It can also affect our blood sugar. If we have a really high toxin exposure, high toxin burden, all of that over time can damage those neurons. Um, if you're not sure like what Alzheimer's disease is or Parkinson's disease or ALS is, just kind of a brief overview there is Alzheimer, it affects your memory and thinking. Usually this starts happening after age 65. Um, you can have sticky plaques, a little buildup in your brains, and you have issues where those neurons are dying a little bit quicker. People with Alzheimer's do typically start losing their ability to remember and think clearly, and it eventually starts affecting their speech. Parkinson's is a little different of where it's more shaking or you can have stiff muscles. So people typically notice issues with walking or balance. A lot of times that's linked to protein problems in the brain, which leads to the loss of brain cells, making it difficult to move and function properly there. And ALS, so that more affects the nerves in your brain and spine, which leads to muscle weakness, can also lead to trouble breathing. So most people that have ALS, it progresses pretty fast and they only live a few years after their symptoms are really notable. Um, this is thought to be linked to possible gene problems, which can damage our motor neurons. So we'll talk a little bit of different ways to help kind of prevent and protect against that. Some of the mental orders I want to talk about, mental disorders I want to talk about are depression and anxiety, as well as, like I said, ADD, ADHD, PTSD, OCD, bipolar, schizophrenia, and even drug and alcohol disorders. Those are all things that we're going to kind of address. Many of these disorders can be supported, possibly even managed or even prevented with specific nutrient support or decreasing toxin exposures. So, if you're somebody that has a history of heavy metal exposures or has a chronic virus that you've never fully kind of cleared out, or mold exposures, or have a lot of food sensitivities that leads to gut imbalances and hormone imbalances, addressing those can make a really big impact on your management and kind of preventing some of those unwanted symptoms with some of these mental disorders. So we'll touch on that as well. And then migraines and headaches, even migraines and headaches really fall into that brain health category. Your nutrition, your gut health, your lifestyle habits, they all play a really big role on how, like what type of headaches you get and how often you get the headaches and migraines, and even the severity. So we've talked a little bit about, what's bad for your brain health and what's bad for your mental well-being. So we'll talk a little bit about some of those simple changes that you can work on implementing now to really, make a big impact. Sleep is a really great place to start, aiming for that 7 to 9 hours of sleep every night. Um, that's going to allow an adequate amount of time for your brain to rest and reset. If you aren't sleeping really well overnight, you never get that full reboot. If you think of like a computer, if you never restart it, it starts getting kind of glitchy, never has time for updates. So if you aren't getting that good night's sleep, you're not getting that good reboot, you don't have time for updates. Your body's still, constantly kind of working throughout the night. Adding in some just basic activity, so a daily walk, even adding like a 10-minute walk around your neighborhood or around your office daily, can be really impactful as a place to start with just adding a little bit of exercise movement to your day. Doing some deep breathing. So adding in really simple mindfulness activities like deep breathing or stretching or just taking some quiet time really allows your nervous system to have some calm. Going back to that kind of that reset thought, just taking a minute to kind of let your nervous system cool down and relax allows for that kind of reboot there. Nothing heals when you're in a stressed out state. So nothing can repair, nothing can replenish. So we really have to allow our body to have some kind of reset time there. Another really key thing, sunshine. If you can get out in the natural light, like when you're doing your daily walk, that can be a really kind of two birds with one stone situation. You're moving, walking around, but also getting some sunshine there. We'll talk a little bit about vitamin D and its role, but getting some vitamin D from the sunshine can be really, really helpful. If you aren't in a situation where you can get that sunshine, you can also supplement with vitamin D either orally or in the injection form. We'll kind of talk about that. Another big one is spending time with loved ones, whether, family, friends, or even a pet. Connection can really, really be healing for you, and that support system is so important um, in your ongoing health journey. And then a key one, taking a break from screens. I know we're all sitting here staring at a screen on either your computer, your phone, or whatever. So we all need to take a break from our screens after this. But yeah, taking a much needed break from your screen can really help our brain reset and recharge. Um, just kind of a side thing here, my own experience. I have twin 3-year-olds, FYI, and they have been going through a lot of emotional changes as 3-year-olds do. And one of the common things there, we noticed that we were probably doing a little bit more screen time than is recommended or advised, especially at that age. So we really cut back on screen time just for a week. And I have noticed a significant improvement in their overall mood and just irritability. So, even seeing at such a young age, there is a huge impact on that break from screen time and letting your brain have some reset and recharge time. But big thing to point out, like you don't have to make all these changes at once or overnight. Really just pick one or two and start with that. Be really intentional and consistent about those changes because all those little changes over time can really add up. I never recommend, you should change your diet, you should change your lifestyle, you should add all these supplements, add all these IVs, like do all this stuff all at once because you're not going to stick to any of it. Nothing will stick. Um, so really just trying to focus in on one thing at a time. And that's where the IV therapy, we'll kind of touch on that, but that's where the IV therapy can be so beneficial. Because if you can just add in that one thing, you're going to be making a huge impact on your nutritional deficiencies, and supporting your adrenals and supporting your hormones and supporting your gut health. And really kind of laying that solid foundation. And I'm a firm believer in if that solid foundation is there, you're going to start feeling better and you're going to want to start doing better. And when you're feeling better and wanting to do better, you start eating better, you start moving more. And so all of those changes kind of come together when we get that really strong foundation there. So talking about, specific foods, food is fuel for your brain. Right foods can really, help you think clearer, feel better, and help protect your brain in the long term. Some of my favorite foods to recommend for brain health are leafy greens like spinach and kale. Um, Berries can also be really beneficial. They're high in antioxidants. Salmon that has your good healthy fats in it. Nuts and seeds, especially walnuts. Um, People may have heard this, but like people remember walnuts are good for your brain because they look like a little brain. Um, Big thing there is that they do have those healthy fats. Eggs can also be really beneficial. Avocados, olive oil, and yes, even a little dark chocolate can help with your focus and mood. So if you need a little sweet treat, dark chocolate is what I would recommend to pick there. It's going to be a little bit lower in raising your blood sugar and also has antioxidants that are really beneficial for our body. So eating more of these foods specifically can it really make a big difference in how your brain works and how you feel. You're giving it some of those key nutrients it needs. Speaking of how food affects everything, I want to talk about the gut-brain axis a little bit. So gut-brain axis is how your stomach and your brain talk to each other. They send messages back and forth all the time. So this can play a really big control in how your mood is and how you handle stress and just kind of your overall mental well-being. It is a two-way communication. So your brain can change how your stomach and gut work, and your gut can also change how your brain feels and acts. Some of the important things there is your vagus nerve. This is a nerve that connects your gut to your brain, and how it can send messages back and forth to each other. Also, your immune system plays a role in there. Your gut has kind of its own immune system, so it can send signals to your brain saying like how it feels, especially when it's fighting off sickness. And you have your gut bacteria. Um, Everybody's gut has bacteria. There's good bacteria in there. Um, those are all tiny little things that live in your gut, and they play a role in making up chemicals like serotonin and dopamine, which play an important role in how you feel happy or calm. Um, so when we have that good gut bacteria, you're going to have more of the stuff that helps produce serotonin. So you're going to feel better. You're going to have more of that feel good chemical for your brain. A healthy gut can also play a big role in how you deal with stress. Um, Kind of a aside here, when we talked about hormones and adrenal stress last webinar, but the HPA axis, it's a system that controls your stress hormones. So um, your gut health can really play a big role in how your stress hormones are regulated, and your stress hormone production can also play a really big role in what makes up your gut microbiome. Um, so when we start seeing problems is when your gut brain connection isn't working right. So this can start leading to issues with anxiety, depression. You start noticing stomach troubles. We can also see progressing to things like ADHD, ADD, other, just kind of neurocognitive issues there. So, like we went over on the last slide, just some of those really key foods there, making sure that we're getting a good replenishment of probiotics and prebiotics, which we talked a little bit more about that on our gut health webinar. All of that can play a big role in your gut health, impacting how your brain functions. Just kind of also a side note there is if you are on any medications for depression or anxiety, any of those mood stabilizing type medications, they can also impact your gut microbiome, that makeup. And so you may need a little extra support there to help keep your gut flora balanced. So we'll talk a little bit about how to optimize your brain health. Let's say you've made those diet changes, you're moving around, doing some exercise, you're focusing on sleep, but you're still not noticing the improvement you want, or you really want to just take it to that next level, and really be proactive and preventative. So back to kind of what we talked about, the foundation. Utilizing IV nutrition, and why specifically IV nutrition and not just any IV therapy. Um, Biggest thing is all of our IV therapy that we use is all custom mixed and custom made. You can see a picture there of our hood. We have all those key nutrients, so we can really increase and add and customize that bag to be what we need it to be. And they're all based off a very precise dosing and precise recipe formulation um, to aim for a certain goal. Also, we have a very beautiful clinic. All of our clinics are kind of have the same theme, the same green theme. You'll see moss walls, water features. We have the Himalayan salt walls, really aiming for that like spa-like relaxing setting. So this isn't just like a medical procedure, go get your IV, whatever. Like we're trying to make this a very, um, an experience, a relaxing experience. And everything that we do is backed by clinical science. So, if you're ever like, why are you doing this? Why do you use that dosing? Whatever. We there's science, there's research, there's studies to back up everything that we do. We also really aim to be a one-stop shop. So, like I said, we've discussed lifestyle changes and diet changes, but to really optimize your health and see and feel that improvement and aim for those long-term goals, you have to address the root issue. So just building that strong foundation where your body is filled with the key nutrients, that's really that next step. That's really how you optimize health. So ways that we can address root causes, we help you with lab work. We help pinpoint, is it gut health that we really need to focus on? Is it adrenals that we need to focus on? Is it your hormones, or is it nutrient deficiencies, or even a combination of these things? So like I said, utilizing the lab test is how we really get to that test don't guess. We can assume most people are low in vitamin D, but we don't know if you are or aren't unless we test for that. So we have specific lab panels that are really comprehensive so we can get a good feel for your baseline where you're at so we can help you decide where to go. All of those results help us get on, that pathway. So like I said, we're helping you optimize what services you're getting, how often you're getting them. And we can really create more of a customized plan. So we're really aiming to get those key nutrients that you need, that may in turn help support your mental well-being and your mental health and your brain health. So, if you come in and you say like, I really need to help with my brain fog, or I need more energy, or I just want to feel happier, or maybe you want to wean off your ADD medication or help with prevention of migraines, or maybe you have like a family history of Alzheimer's and you just really want to be proactive in preventing that, or slowing the progression if you've already been diagnosed. We have a lot of options of how to help support all of that. And focusing on those key nutrients is what helps build that foundation. So I'm sure now you guys are like, what are those key nutrients? Or like, what are those tests that you're talking about? So comprehensive wellness panel is kind of the first place I would start. We're going to get some insight about inflammation, hormones, adrenals, immune system, thyroid, blood sugar regulation, and a lot more. It's a ton of blood. It's more blood than you've had probably by any primary care, but we'll go a lot more in depth on, like I said, optimal rather than just normal, and give you some insight on what you need to do to keep it at optimal. GI map is also really helpful place to start, and Dutch panel can give us a lot of insight about your hormones. We also do testing for heavy metal exposure, mold exposure, and Epstein-Barr testing. Um, all of those can play a role in why you might be having long-term issues. Kind of a little known thing is like mold exposure can lead to brain fog or poor memory or even ADHD, ADD. Can also notice like mood swings, depression, chronic fatigue, sleeping troubles, migraines, skin issues, breathing issues, digestive issues, fibromyalgia, and um, not you may not realize you've been exposed to mold. Epstein-Barr is a virus about 90% of adults have, and never fully clear it. It is the virus that causes mono, and it can cause ongoing kind of chronic mild inflammation, lead to mood changes, fatigue, and even be kind of the root cause of autoimmune diseases. Um, Starting to run out on time here, and I want to make sure we have time for questions at the end, but I want to hit on some of these key nutrients that are really helpful for prevention and support of your brain. Um, So a lot of these are hard to get in just diet alone, and you may not absorb them well if your gut's stressed or inflamed. So doing them in the injection or IV route, we're bypassing the gut and really helping improve those nutrient deficiencies. Um, I like to explain the difference kind of oral supplements and IV therapy. Oral supplements are really great for maintenance or something you need to kind of have daily, um, or it's something we're not able to give in the IV or injection form, but they're not really great at replenishing and refilling. So if you think about like your nutrient cup is empty and if we're taking an oral supplement, at best, we're absorbing like 25% of that. If you have any gut health issues, that number drops down. So if we're just taking, a little supplement and dropping it in the cup every day, not really filling up and helping that deficiency. IV therapy and injections, they bypass the gut, so you're getting 100% bioavailability. So basically, everything that's going in your body can take what it needs, really fill that cup up, and we're able to do it at a little bit higher doses. So that serum level is at a higher level in your body for a longer period of time, allowing it to have a more therapeutic effect. So we'll kind of briefly talk about some of these key nutrients. So phosphatidylcholine, put the little phonetically way to say that on there, just so when you go in, you're like, I want that phospha. If you can say that much, we'll know what you're talking about. We'll help you. But it's really helpful for helping build up that outer layer on your brain cells, helping keep them strong and flexible so they can keep working well. Plays a really big role in supporting memory and focus. So you can help think better, learn better, and remember things a little bit better. Also plays a role in helping kind of clean up your brain, getting rid of some of those waste products and toxins that build up in your brain and can hurt those brain cells over time. Also helps with energy and repairing damage. So supporting healing brain cells that might be inflamed or damaged. So really, main thing there is it helps staying healthy, helps the brain kind of stay sharp and strong. Can be really beneficial as we get older and has shown to possibly be beneficial in slowing neurodegenerative diseases. B vitamins, so a lot of our different IV infusions that we offer do have B complex in them, so you get a wide range of B vitamins. But they're going to help protect the brain cells, lowering inflammation and removing harmful stuff like a homocysteine level buildup, um, help with energy, help decrease feeling tired and brain fog. So, we've all heard B12 is beneficial for energy, but the other B vitamins don't necessarily get as much credit as they should. B vitamins also play a really big role in helping with the happy chemicals like serotonin. So that can really impact your mood and stress. So B vitamins help you feel better, you know, think better and stay healthy. ALA, another one of those ones, have the name there, but just remember the letters. It's easier that way. This is a really key, like potent antioxidant. So it can help with damage that you might get from stress or toxin exposure. Helps with staying alert and active. Um, it helps you recycle nutrients. So like vitamin C and E can make them work a little bit better and longer. So kind of helping I guess, help optimize some of the other nutrients you might be getting. Can also help with keeping your memory sharp and helping slow down any brain degeneration you might be having. As a side note, it can also help with blood sugar regulation, high cholesterol, and be good for liver support. Um, so really, really beneficial key nutrient we can do there in the IV form. Vitamin D, we talked about that a little bit. So sunshine vitamin, you get it from the sun, but it's hard to get enough of that, especially when we're not outside as much as we should be probably, or it's winter or anything like that. But vitamin D plays a big role in sending and receiving messages properly, and also plays a role in that helping produce serotonin, helping with that feel good mood, and can also improve inflammation and protect brain cells. Um, and also may decrease your risk of developing depression, memory loss, and dementia. So vitamin D, really key nutrient for brain health. Omegas, we talked a little bit about those healthy fats that you can get in your diet. Once again, not always easy to get all these things in your diet. So, trying to add healthy fat fish, walnuts, flax seeds, all of that's good. But we can also get you on an omega supplement. The one we have is called Omega Pure and just gives you that little added boost every day. Unfortunately, we cannot do this one in the IV or an injection form. So this is something you'd have to take a pill of, but really help with your brain staying strong and healthy, helping with clarity, memory, and helping you pay attention. Can also help with balancing some of those chemicals that our body produces that may contribute to sadness and anxiety. Um, and then can also help with inflammation. So thinking better, feel better, and protecting your brain. Magnesium, another key one there. This can really help with relaxing and stress and anxiety. So kind of your natural um, anti-anxiety medication here. Help with adrenal support. This can help with sleep and helping you stay asleep. So you really get that rest and healing sleep that you need. Helps your brain work a little bit more smooth because it helps with how it messaging system in there and also can be supportive with inflammation. Zinc is another key one. So helps with immune support, helps with mood, um, can help defend against damage and inflammation, and also helps with the remembering things, focus, and learning. CoQ10. So we offer this in the injection form. A lot of people take this in the oral supplement, but just to really get that added boost is doing it in the injection. It can help your body produce energy for your cells, especially in your brain, and help with staying alert, staying focused. Um, it does work like an antioxidant, so it can help with aging process and damage that we develop over time with aging. Helps with memory and your brain performance. And an added benefit, it's also good for your heart. So get more oxygen and nutrients to our brain as it helps our heart. NAD, this may be something you've heard of. It's kind of a new popular, I say new, it's not new, but a popular nutrient that we offer, but it helps give energy to your cells. So we can do this in the IV form or injection. We have a couple different dosing options, as low as 25 milligrams all the way to 250 milligrams. So depending on your goals and what's going on, we can really help figure out how often and what dosing you should get. Um, some people experience kind of a like jittery feeling with that first kind of either the infusion or when about 30 minutes to an hour after getting the injection. So a lot of times you start at a lower dose and kind of build yourself up as you're able to tolerate that. But NAD has a lot of key benefits. It can help with brain health, with the thinking and focusing and energy and anti-aging process. But other things to point out is it can be really supportive for people with addiction. So helping stop the use of alcohol or even cigarettes. We have studies available that have shown that it can be really supportive with those, helping with like the cravings and withdrawal and the brain fog people experience with that and helping with some of the damage that you have over time with excessive alcohol or tobacco use. Mental health, so it's going to help with serotonin and dopamine regulation. It can be really supportive for anxiety and depression and stress. So a lot of times if you're low, I'm kind of covering it up. A lot of times if you're low in NAD, you may feel tired or moody or foggy. So NAD can be really great for supporting your brain and giving it some energy and support. There's also studies that are available that it may help with weaning off ADD and ADHD medication if that's something that you're interested in. Glutathione, one of the last nutrients we're going to talk about here. So, really powerful antioxidant. Your body naturally produces it, but over time, different things can deplete your body's ability to produce it, or you're not making enough to keep up with that kind of toxin burden. So it really helps clean and protect your cells. We have it in a couple different forms. You can do deep or double detox. We also have Magic Mojo, which is an injection, Dynamic Dad, and Magic Mom. Those are both injections as well that have glutathione in it. So yeah, deep and double detox are the IV form. They're really great as kind of an add-on after your IV, especially if you're getting something with vitamin C. Just kind of ramp up the um, work that the vitamin C is doing. So glutathione helps with basically just helping clear out toxins, different inflammation that builds up from stress or pollution or different irritants that we're exposed to. Um, Also can play a benefit in that detoxing process off of any harmful chemicals, whether that's drugs, alcohol, or tobacco, nicotine products, and can also be really helpful for mental health and helping keep your mood steady, helping with anxiety, depression, and brain fog, and just helping everything kind of feel balanced. So think of glutathione as like your cleaning crew. It helps keep everything healthy and clear and strong, especially if we're having any stressful processes. Just touching on a couple of the IV services that we offer that are really beneficial for brain support. Um, so balanced brain, it's going to have magnesium, has some of the B vitamins in it, has glycine, taurine. Um, so all of that together can be really helpful for supporting your brain in the production of serotonin, dopamine, GABA. Really great to use for depression, anxiety, addiction, if you are having cravings or insomnia or sleep issues. Um, Balanced Brain is a really, really good long-term one. It also has vitamin C to help with inflammation. So really great option to pair with that deep or double detox, that glutathione. Um, and all the IVs that I'm listing, you can get them safely at least once a week as long as you don't have any of the contraindications, which we would go over with your initial intake form. Brain Boost, another great one. It really focusing on brain fog, focus. So something, if you have like a big project or exam coming up, this may be a good one for you. Or if you're just feeling like mentally exhausted, this is a really great IV. It also has some vitamin C in it, so you can pair that with the glutathione for a little added boost there. Um, it has some other key things to help with supporting like brain cell turnover. So another good brain supporter there. And then stress stopper. This one's really specialized to help reduce stress and support your adrenal glands. Going to boost serotonin and help with GABA production. Stress can be really debilitating and it leads to inflammation and stress issues, sleep issues, pain, hormone imbalances, immune issues. So this one can be really great if you have been stressing and need to kind of chillax there. If you've had anxiety and need some help calming down, if you feel really tense or wound up, great for migraines, either active or prevention, can help with sleep, insomnia, and then just that adrenal support. So it can, I would say this one, we said the brain boost is great right before like a big project or exam. This one is the opposite. This one you're going to want to go home and chill. I would not recommend trying to go tackle a big project with this one. Headache Haven. This one really, really great for an active migraine or headache or muscle tension. Um, you can use it for prevention. I would say Stress Stopper is a little bit better for that prevention, and Headache Haven is better for that active migraine. So, kind of my suggestion here, if you're suffering from a migraine or headache, like I know last thing you want to do is go into an IV clinic and or get out in the car and drive, but if we can get you in there, really peaceful environment. Ask about the red light therapy mask. See if the clinic you go to has that available. Put that on. Get this IV. Like your migraine doesn't stand a chance. You're going to feel very relaxed and calm, and notice a lot of improvement there. Next steps. So gave you all this information. everything that we talk about is very personalized and customized. So all of this stuff is very general recommendations. So if you're like, I'm overwhelmed, that was a lot of information, like where do I start? I would recommend booking a free call, which we'll have that link or information on how to do that here in just a second. But book the free call. Meet with one of our providers. We'll talk to you about your specific issues, your complaints, what you're thinking. Maybe the next step is getting lab work so we can really pinpoint what the issue is. Maybe need to just trial a couple services and see how you feel and what's working. And then on your end, start making some of those nutritional changes, start making some of those lifestyle changes. But we're here to help support what supplements you should be taking so you don't end up with 50 of them that you don't even know if they're doing what they're supposed to be doing, if you're taking them when you're supposed to take them. Are you even absorbing them? So let us help you point you in the right direction of what supplements to take and when to take them and make sure you're getting high quality ones. And then the IV therapy, add that in, start implementing that as part of your regimen there. And I just want to, before we start taking questions, talk about follow-up information, I just want to take a moment to address like this month is Mental Health Awareness Month, which is why we picked this topic. And here at IV Nutrition, no one is ever too much. Like we hear you, we see you. We know mental health is such a key foundation to your overall health and wellness. So we're happy to support you and help you work through your mental health wherever you're at in that step, and just really address it from the inside out. I want you to feel comfortable coming to us and not feeling like you're in such a crazy weird spot and we're going to judge you. Like we're here to help support. So just don't ever feel like you're too much or too crazy or too anxious. Like we will help you through the process. So just want to share this. If you're interested in learning more about your health from a functional standpoint, please feel free to sign up for that free call. You can either use this link, ivnutrition.com/free call, or if you hold your phone up to the little QR code right there, it'll take you to our link tree where there's a tab there that says free 15-minute call. You can book that at any time. We try to have those available pretty much Monday through Friday in the afternoons. So you can meet with one of our providers and we can help point you in the right direction. And then I just encourage everyone to go to ivnutrition.com and look around. You can see all of our different services we offer, read about them. You can even schedule your appointment there and you can figure out which clinic is closest to you. We do have about 40, I think up to 40 right now, clinics nationwide. So very likely that there is one close to you and you just didn't know it. So use that resource to kind of help point you in the right direction on how to get started with IV nutrition. And now we will move into questions. So thank you everyone for attending. I'm going to answer some questions and I'll try to answer as many as we can. Like I said, if I don't get to it, just watch for a follow-up email. There will be an email that has any missed questions and a link for the recording of the webinar. We'll also ask for you to fill out a post-presentation survey that you'll get in a separate email just so we know if you liked the webinar, what you didn't like, if there's anything that we can continue to improve on. So be watching for that email. And I'm going to jump to questions real quick. What is the difference between normal lab results and optimal ones? So yeah, we kind of brought that up, but didn't necessarily go into depth there. So that's a really good question. So if you get lab work through us, first off, it's going to be a lot of the same labs like your primary care would do, and then some. We do all of our labs through private pay, so we can kind of bypass insurance. We're not limited there on having to match everything up with the diagnosis. So that lets us do a lot more preventative testing and screening. So when we say optimal, it's a much more narrow range within that normal range. Those normal ranges were created 65 years ago and have not been updated since. They took a bunch of average Americans that were healthy at that time and said, okay, it looks like, their average glucose falls here. So we're going to call that normal. And there's nothing else that we do that we use 65-year-old data for. So kind of crazy. So when we talk about optimal, it's just really where your body functions best. Not just, what's okay, what's free of disease. It's where you should be, where you need to be to have your body regulate the way it's supposed to. Um, so that's really when we're talking optimal. Like I said, just much more narrow range within normal. Um, Ideally, if we can stay in optimal, like that keeps you from going down that pathway of developing chronic issues. Um, so I have a question, another question that popped through just now. Let me look at this. So can't use insurance. So we do accept HSA and FSA, but do not accept insurance directly for the therapy or the lab work. Um, just doesn't, we aren't able to really correlate that to get reimbursed for it. And we aren't able to do as much extensive testing as we do if we ran it through insurance. But we do HSA and FSA reimbursement. So that's something that you can consider doing. Let's see, just got another question. I feel tired and foggy all the time. Could that be from low nutrients, even though I eat healthy? Yeah, I mean, it definitely could be from low nutrients. Even if you're following a really healthy diet, um, your your body might not be absorbing all of those nutrients as efficiently as it should. That kind of goes back to the gut issues. If we have like stress or inflammation that's throwing off our ability to digest and process properly. So that's really where that, lab testing is going to tell us where you're actually deficient in nutrients. And then bypassing the gut with the IV therapy and injections can be really, really helpful and beneficial on bypassing any gut inflammation or issues there that might go along with metabolizing. Um, Other question. How do I know if my forgetfulness is just normal aging or something more serious like early memory loss? Yeah, really good question. So occasional forgetfulness is normal, but like if you occasionally forget like a name or forget that you had an appointment or um, if it starts becoming more regular, that's when maybe we need to take a deeper look, especially if you notice that you're feeling like lost in a really familiar place or forgetting a name of somebody like a family member that's very close to you. Um, that's really when I would say taking a deeper look. But yeah, kind of starting with the lab testing, that can give us a good baseline of where you're at. So we can see, do you have startings of inflammation? Is it mild? Is it, getting to the point that it's a little bit more severe? Do you have nutrient deficiencies that we really need to address now? Are there different hormones that are out of balance that may be affecting your brain? Kind of addressing all those now, maybe before you develop that full-on diagnosis of a memory issue. That's a really beneficial and most helpful way to look at it. Everything we offer, even lab testing, the goal is more that preventative option. But if you, even if you've already been diagnosed, a lot of the things that we offer can help slow the progression of it. So that can be, that can be something to consider. We do have clients that already have been diagnosed with Parkinson's and come in and they've noticed benefit and kind of that mood regulation there and helping slow the process. All right. I don't see any more questions, and it is right at 5 o'clock. So last chance. Any more questions? Looking really quick in the Q&A. I don't see anything. All right. Well, thank you all again for attending our May webinar, and just hope that you take this information to really support your mental and mental well-being and your brain health, and help kind of create that strong foundation so you can stay healthy. And watch for that follow-up email with the recording, and that you'll also get that post-webinar survey just to let us know if you like this and what you want to see different or better. So thank you, everybody, and hope you have a good rest of your day.